Hello, World Wide Web. I'm Dr. Shot of the Universe, the best and welcome to Live and Wire episode 120. Dead and tired. It's gonna consider this one of them chill streams. I don't exactly have much of a plan today, other than go to get my groceries, which I did. Productive. And the review is coming along. That's Dobby. Hello, Dobby. Goodbye, Dobby. The review is coming along, except it's actually ending up longer than anticipated. Jurassic World Dominion, that one. I've still actually got quite a bit left to script, even though I'm already longer than most of my reviews are in terms of length. So it's going to be one. There's just a lot to talk about. There is a lot to talk about in Jurassic World Dominion. I have not yet seen Megan No Knock at the Cabin. I have been living in a state of malaise, I guess you could say. Just unpleasant. Cute Chibi Godzilla figure out of Hobby Lobby. That's nice. Oh, okay. But yeah, there's a lot of things going on. Oh, did I like Terrifier 2? Yes, I did a reaction review for it, and unfortunately, it was so far from when I had seen it. Only a couple of days, but long enough that my brain was like, and people died, and that's like all I could remember. But I grabbed the 4K Blu-ray as soon as I could, and yeah, I do intend to do a deeper dive into that, but this is going to be another fun one. So one of the frustrating things about scripting the Jurassic World Dominion review is I can do that without swearing, which I know YouTube would really like right now. So I am honestly trying. And man, it's hard when there are such stupid things going on. And I'm like, I so want to say, and this guy decided this because he's a fucking moron. And I can't. And then I'm like, well, what else can I do? Man, I can smack myself in the forehead. No, that's right. I stopped doing that as well. So I'm having to think real hard about how to express precisely how I feel without expressing precisely how I feel. Should review Reanimator. Oh, that's been a thing that's been requested for a while, and I really need to. I think I have the first one. I think I have it because I've held on to it for so long. And how was my day? Actually, better than most, because I got up at a decent hour today, and so I was able to get things taken care of around the house. I was able to take care of the cats. I was able to go and I did the dishes. I cooked breakfast, which was bacon and eggs. I still have some eggs left over from when they didn't cost $1 million. But hey, it's dang it. Thank you, Mr. Grandia. Thank you. Yeah, that's Dobby. That's Charlie's cat. He's just looking to see about getting outside. Dobby. This guy made this stupid decision because he's a silly goose. That might be okay for now until YouTube has that change in their policy where you're not allowed to do like schoolyard insults. That's considered like harassment, and so it's that's demonetizable as well. I have a feeling that's gonna happen at some point. Oh, some days I want to do that. Honestly, I'm staying up till like 2 a.m. and I'm waking up at 11, and I'm like, why don't I just stay up and fix my sleep schedule tomorrow? Although I know that never actually works. I just like stay up till like 8, and then I fall asleep, and then I get up at 3, and I'm like shit. And so it's as oh well. Oh. What's your views on repeat? Oh, thank you. I'm just, well, I'm saying like I assume at some point that's what's gonna happen. That's just, Let's say YouTube is a lot like the Puritan witch trials. Rules don't matter. In the game, can change at any time. Yep. Yeah. Well, I kind of miss my ugly couches too, but I like the new couch, but the thing is, I only pulled that one out for the and some would consider this couch ugly. It's just red leather, but I only pulled that one out for the Joker review specifically, or the not the Joker review, but the review I was the Joker in, the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker review. I pulled it out for that one specifically because my hair was green, so I couldn't really use a green screen. I was thinking, oh, maybe I could have like done some editing to just turn my hair green in post and tried to do that, but that'd probably be very difficult for me to do with my skill in editing and what have you. I see some people do some amazing stuff in After Effects, and I'm not that level. I'm not. I enjoy what I can do, but I'm self-taught, and it didn't cover that part. I have not. I don't really watch TV too often. The only TV show I have been watching lately, honestly, is The Last of Us on HBO Max. So there's like if something is a series, I generally am not there watching it. I'm either watching movies or playing video games. That's my life. Which summer of was my favorite? That's a big question I always get, and that's always something that I'm like stuck because like it's always like the latest one, like the Summer of Leprechaun. I really enjoyed, but there are things about it that I think back to. I'm like, I wish I did this better. I wish I did that better. The Summer of Leprechaun specifically, it has to be the summer shouts. I had bigger ideas, but I ran out of time, ran out of locations, and I just did kind of generic, basic summer shouts for the Summer of Leprechaun. But I really enjoyed the movies. I really enjoyed talking about them, and I liked a lot of the gags I did. And the side videos for the Summer of Leprechaun, I had a lot of fun with, even though that really ate into all the time I had. And after the Summer of Leprechaun, I had that big crash, which I'm still kind of recovering from. But I'm like, I hit a crash, and then I hit sick. The second was it? No, it was before the summer. I got COVID, but it was afterwards I got the flu, and. So that there was just so much that, and then depression kicks in, and there's just all kinds of like, and YouTube being YouTube, they don't like it when you miss any days, and that does not help with the depression. I mean, I know everyone says like, hey, if things are going good, it doesn't necessarily help, but if something goes pretty bad, it also really isn't helping either. And YouTube is right there to be like, I see you missed a week of uploading. Well, we'll send this out to a third the people we usually do. Oh, look at that. It's getting less views. Make better videos, you asshole. I mean, you silly goose. Night of the Demons. That's another big one. Another big. I've been getting a lot of requests. Like I keep consistently getting requests. Like on my Patreon, I get a lot of messages requesting movie reviews. Now, I don't. To be clear, I don't have a tier like now you can request at this point. Everyone's allowed to request. It's just that's also a place I can receive messages. Therefore, I do receive messages on Patreon, and a lot of them are requests for certain reviews. Not charged for requests, but there's just so many like synopsis that I've seen for movies I've never heard of that are like, this is entirely up my alley. I love that I have spent 10 years making this YouTube channel talking about movies I like, because there's a lot of people out there who have a good idea of my tastes, and they're like, hey, Decker, here's this, and that's something I've never seen before, and I absolutely love it. Favorite March of the Clown movies I've reviewed. I think like Terrifier, All Hallows Eve, but specifically Terrifier 1 was just such a pleasant surprise. As Terrifier 2 was popping up, and I saw that it was like going to theaters, and it's like the first in that series to reach theaters. I was already like, this is going to be big. People have no idea what they're getting into, but this is going to be big. And what do you know? It did pretty damn good, I'd say. I kind of saw that coming, but then I saw Terrifier 1. But I have not yet tried Evil Dead the game, I'm afraid. But March of the Clowns. I also Like, I really liked Funland. That was another one that was a surprise. That one I really enjoyed. Like, I was not expecting it, and I was just like, I need a clown movie to fill out this month. Let's go. What's this? It's a clown movie. It's got stuff. It looks terrible. Throw it in there, and it actually really, like, there was just a lot to enjoy in Funland. You have to take it for what it is, but it's kind of a trip, and it definitely sticks with you. Have I played the new Dead Space remake? Yes, and Charlie hates how I've been playing it. Like, I did a stream on Twitch actually. Uh, so I got a Steam Deck as well, and I like tooling around with it. And I was like, can it run on it? Probably. It can run a lot of things. Uh, but how well? And so I loaded up Dead Space into it and just did the standard default settings and was going through it, and it ran pretty good. It was kind of a wobbly 40 to 45 frames, some dropping down to the 30s, some corners of hallways hitting 60. But it still felt very smooth because I think like it's pretty well optimized to the point where the frame pacing is still very even with a variable frame rate like that. Because there's no VRR on the Steam Deck, and at those frame rates, you don't get VRR. Generally doesn't work anyway. But oh boy, we just spent the last 5 minutes trying to open a blender cup. Yay for cripple hands. That reminds me, the title card for this particular stream is speaking of cripple hands. That's a AI image generation. It might not be proper to call it AI art because there's this level of art, like what is defined as art. So, I don't know. But I wanted something kind of in that vein. There's some areas I kind of wish I got a real artist for, like the skull's proportions aren't exactly right, and the bones start to get a little random. But other than that, it's pretty close to what I was going for. So I'm like, okay, that's nice. That's nice. I feel like AI image generation is good for prototyping, but if you want some art done, best is to get an artist. Oh yeah, it can be a lot of fun. It can be kind of addictive to just throw words in there and see what it gives you. It's got that kind of like scratch ticket lottery quality to it. Especially since I use Dream Studio, which doesn't cost a lot, but it does cost a few cents every time you throw it in there. Like, come on. Oh, but yeah, what was it? What was I? Oh yeah, but yeah, Steam Deck runs the Dead Space remake pretty well, but when it got to the parts where it chugged more and I was running at 30 or 28 frames a second, it was just like a little bit of magic popping off because the resolution was low enough, and I had the film grain still on, and there's the Steam Deck doesn't have a full like color range; it's a little crushed. So there was like just some artifacting, some stuff going on, and there's little things clicking in my mind, and I'm like, what if I made this look worse? So I was tooling around with the Steam Deck. I set it to 640 by 480. It plays in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and I'm able to crank up all the graphic settings to ultra at 480p, and it can run at 60 frames a second that way, but I can hard cap the OS to only run it at 30. And so I'm playing the Dead Space remake in this low ass resolution 4:3 aspect ratio. Everything's all grainy, the colors aren't right, and it looks like grindhouse horror, and I love it. It looks like some straight to video crap, but with like the best dang 80s effects you could find. And I'm loving the hell out of it, playing it at 480p at 30 frames a second and 4:3 aspect ratio. I wish I could find a way to set it to play at 480i, honestly, like get that VHS quality in there, but I can't quite do that. Maybe if I could also get it to run at like 24 frames a second instead of 30. I don't know. Or maybe 23.997. You got to get it quite exactly right. Oh yeah, Charlie hates seeing me play because she's there playing it on the 4K TV, like at 4K with nice shiny graphics and such. She's there like looking at all the beautiful effects and stuff, and here I am like, this is amazing. Look at this, and it's like this is great. It looks like some shit out of Doom, but the best damn Doom you've ever seen. And I love the aesthetic. I just love the aesthetic of that. Uh, Steam Deck expressionism. Maybe. I don't have a Discord server, or if I do, it's not doing anything. Like I have a Discord name. The 486. Yeah, I was playing Doom on a good old 386. As where your choice was, do you want to shrink the screen tiny to you want to play on that postage stamp, or do you want to play in low resolution mode and only have to shrink it a little? I chose low resolution mode because fuck the postage stamp. Like a sharper image isn't worth it that much to have it just be so tiny, unless you're playing on a Game Boy, which still didn't have a very sharp image when it was on Game Boy Advance, to be honest. AI voice and things started off funny with deep fake Hitman Hello 47 intros, funny AF. And you think how dangerous it could be. Oh yeah, I mean that's the world we live in now. Hey Lou. How you doing, Lou? We're just having a chill stream today, chatting it up about various things in entertainment, what's on everyone's minds. I can't right now. I'm working. This is work. You want to come? You can work too. Work is great. Everyone loves work, especially when dogs are involved. What would be my favorite old game? Phantasy Star Online for Sega Dreamcast, maybe? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like Diablo 2 is out again, so does that really count? And I just remember spending so much time with Phantasy Star Online, and like that was also at a time when I got evicted again in my youth, and what had to move. One of the first things we did when we moved into the new place was plug in the Dreamcast and set up Phantasy Star Online, because that was the one thing just really wanted to do was play some PSO. But yeah, so I'm trying to think of another game that had me like that much as a classic game. But then again, in the with Doom on the 386, the 386 also had Windows 95 installed on it for some reason, which meant it didn't have that much space on its tiny little hard drive. So we literally had to uninstall pretty much everything else and then install Doom. But then in order to get Doom to run properly, you had to turn on the computer, wait for it to automatically load Windows as it will, and then shut Windows down to load into DOS. So it frees up all the CPU cycles. Then run Doom in low quality mode at a slightly smaller screen. There you go. That's how you do it. Oh, Sewer Shark. That's a classic. Not very good, but either that or it's very confusing. It's a very confusing game, possibly because of the very low resolution FMV. But when it comes to FMV games, it is one of the better ones. No, you don't. No, you do. No. Oh, yeah, it would not ask you, are you sure? Just, yes. You get that done. Times when HDDs had less data than a CD. Yeah. Well, CDs, like first generation CDs, were like what, 500 megabytes, which was enormous at the time. Like we're going from, like how much was on a floppy disk? Like let me check. Floppy disk capacity. most commonly used floppy disks are 3.5 inches and have the capacity of 800 kilobytes to 2.8 megabytes, with a standard of 1.44 megabytes. That's the high density floppy disk. High density. So we're going from that on the computer side, and like the classic cartridges. There was the cartridges like saying like, oh, it's on this is a megabit here, which is an eighth of a megabyte. So that would be like 1 point something, 1 point something, 1.25. Yeah, 1.25. Okay, 125 kilobytes would be a megabit. And that's like some cartridges bragging about how big the games are on them back in the 8-bit days. Like, that's what you're dealing with. So then we go to 16-bit, which really wasn't that big of an improvement. Like the N64 cartridges, they were really small. That was in the CD era, and they still were using cartridges. And like towards the end of the N64's life, they were using like 50 megabyte cartridges, and they were really expensive to make. And that was still only 10% of what first generation CDs could do. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. I kind of miss the Stephen King drinking games we did, but oh well. Oh, and they came out with the first gigabyte hard drive. We're like, you would never fill that much space. Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Charlie about this the other day, where I was looking at different things like, oh, this is 2 terabytes and this and that, and I'm like, that's pretty good, this and that, and thinking of like, give it 10 years, I'm going to be like, 2 terabytes? That's pathetic. I don't use anything under 12 petabytes. Something like is the amount that things just keep increasing is kind of crazy. Though it's also like this generation, we're supposed to get things to actually come down in size, because you can do that with a SSD. Problem being is a lot of people are still using HDDs or HDDs, hard disk drive. A lot of people are still using HDDs, and therefore things have to be made for the lowest common denominator, and that little promise of shrinking file sizes has not come to fruition. Files getting bigger. Yeah, but the idea is like with the shrinking file sizes is that one of the reasons for ballooning game sizes in the last generation is because when it's all designed around a hard drive, the thing can only move so fast between data packets. So you have to keep all the data you need really close on the disk, which means repeating the same data over and over. Whereas on an SSD, it can just pretty much instantly jump to different parts of the drive, which makes superfluous data moot. You don't need to have that kind of stuff going on. Welcome, JS Pena. Oh yeah. And there is still pretty good compression going on. That was one thing that actually really surprised me, because for the longest time, like speaking of classic games and Dreamcast and compression, one of the things I thought for the longest time was that Dreamcast had more VRAM than PlayStation 2, because Dreamcast had considerably better textures than PlayStation 2. But eventually I did dig into the specs of the systems, and I specifically looked at that part, and I came to the discovery that the PlayStation 2 had more VRAM than the Dreamcast, but the Dreamcast had a texture compression kind of thing built into it that wasn't there in the PS2. So even though the Dreamcast had less VRAM, it used it better than the PlayStation 2 could. Oh well. But the PlayStation 2 was also kind of like the amount of VRAM available was not looked at as a large amount at the time anyway. Developers weren't too happy with that. But yeah, the Dreamcast had even less. It just had the compression techniques in there. Yes. Discs are better than cartridges. Cartridges are better than discs. Life completed its circle. Yes. Yeah, it's a very similar kind of technology. Just it improved so much. Was Child's what? The true question of the night should be: was Child's the thing? Oh, was Child's the thing? You see, that's one of the things where they leave it up to interpretation. And I think in the Xbox game that was considered like a sequel, though not necessarily canon, it was like no. But that's not to say that it was kind of all over the place. But I do. Oh, sorry. I get kind of geeky. Like we could talk about movies again and film and stuff like that. Oh, the comics says Childs was the thing. Okay. Sorry. Crossover with your movie sucks. I haven't seen this stuff in a while. I've just been kind of like, I need to do my stuff and I need to do it myself. I got to get past this. It's like what I really need to do. Like I was earlier today talking to Charlie outside as I'm letting my hair dry after I took my shower. Like in the Texas sun, it was a 60 degrees outside, but for the last last week it's been 40, so it felt warm to me. And so I'm out there like letting my hair in the sun and the light breeze going by. Like we were talking about. Dang it! What was I talking about just now? Yes, talking about YouTube and how the channel's doing and what YouTube expects of me. And I told her, like, I know straight up exactly what would make the algorithm absolutely love the channel. What I'd need to do is put out 2 high quality movie reviews every week. That's like the minimum that the algorithm would want for it to just love the channel. And it'd have to be good quality. I can't just crap stuff out because, people still have to click on it and actually want to watch it. And it has to be movie reviews because that's the thing that pretty much everyone subscribed for. So that's the main thing that everyone wants. You see, I tried the one short and it was like, but I could do more. YouTube does love those and they're monetizing them now, but I'm not really a shorts guy. I was thinking, and that's the other thing. Well, I was thinking like of doing a little more scripted content, but if I could maybe have a part in a review that would make a nice short, edit it down into a short, maybe, I don't know. I see people do that that happens in shorts quite a bit where there's little chunks here that are clearly from a larger video. But yeah, there's just like a couple of jokes I could use. Like there's one joke I have in the upcoming review of Jurassic World Dominion that could easily be made into a short. Oh yeah, shorts are cringe. Yeah, I could easily do that if the algorithm might like it here. But I hate chasing the algorithm. Like, please love me. It's this is shrink the trailer into a short. I mean, I did used to do the review trailers and such. That was because the reviews were on other sites. But I also liked when I had the review trailers going on for teasing the upcoming review that was already done in Live and Wired. Like that was when I was doing one video a week, and I had the Live and Wired, and everything was all good, and the wheels were going. Before I realized that everything was still going down, the algorithm wasn't happy, and then my head goes all crazy, and now I'm missing weeks and weeks, and it's still very not happy. So it's yay! I just gotta fix here, fix that. Will help the channel a lot if this is taken care of first. Discs gave us the PSX, more proof that cartridges are much better. The pace of 2 videos need to help with script and editing. Can't do it all on your own. As last 10 years showed. Yeah, that is true. It's just I like scripting. I like telling the story. I like storytelling. I like presentation. I like all of the aspects of the video making process. I like being a one-man team. And just Under the Veil dropped $5 saying, kicking off the super chat, Stecker is the internet personality with the best hair and the best boss I've ever had. He deserves all the love. Aw, thank you. And to answer your question, yes. This should have given me an alert on this, which would have, yeah, the Bluetooth's still on. It should have vibrated my watch, but it didn't. So I just turned the sound back on. Well, I mean, I understand, but at the same time, it's like the big thing with the whole with everything is right now, like a lot of the big thing that's keeping me from getting stuff out for weeks and weeks is not that it's just so much work to do to make the video as it is I need to get my mind in order and get my house in order and get my daily schedule back in order. There's plenty of time. I just need to spend it better. So let's see. Yeah, that's one of the things I got to kick myself on that one. It's all that. Thank you, Tanya. Shorts to do movie reviews in 15 to 30 seconds to tease longer reviews. That was actually suggested like a while ago, and I loved the idea, and I never did it. And I really should. I want to do like just a shorts review, like that. It kind of harkens back to X movie in 40 seconds or X movie in 20 seconds, however many seconds it was. Those videos, like just those little YouTube videos like that. But I could easily do. Oh God, Jurassic World Dominion is like 2.5 hours, so that would be an interesting one to try and squeeze into just 30 seconds. That would be a very interesting experiment. But there's so much going on that is just worth talking about. The reason I stopped doing the additional notes was because I was trying to get it so YouTube would see like a larger percentage viewed, and the additional notes that had, of course, a good amount of drop off. Not everyone wants to stick around for them. They don't have to. They don't have to watch things they don't want to watch. But it did cause a big drop off. And when you're trying to please the algorithm, you're trying to okay, I'm going to give everyone everything they want to see, and it's going to keep the graph high. And that was a distinct part where it just kind of shoots down. So it's like crap. So I just cut that part off, and the overall graph looks nicer to the algorithm in theory. I haven't really seen too much of how well that is. Things haven't jumped up since then. Let's be honest about that. But there's also, I've been doing the calls to action at the end of the video. That did seem to have a very positive effect, but it's kind of hard to tell because I've been so sparse on reviews lately. But that's one thing that YouTube looks for right now is the end screen element click-through rates. They judge your channel's worthwhile to keep people watching keep people on YouTube watching more videos based on if someone is going to click on that end screen element to go to another video and how much of that other video they watch and all that stuff. So I still want to make them things that are at least relevant and fun, whatever. And so I have the specific call to action at the end there for that, and it's increased my channel's average end screen element click-through rates now to a little over 2%, which for most channels is considered absolutely atrocious. But when you consider the fact that my channel's end screen element click-through rate used to be 0.3%, it's a big improvement. I'm sorry about that. It's been this year. Like I did the little thing where I kind of compare how the channel's looking from year to year. I take the end of year metrics for everything and kind of compare them year over year. And this one, 2022, has been a bit of a weird one because subscribers are down, views are down, watch time is down, revenue is up. Yay, ads. It's just, even with the Summer of Leprechaun doing pretty dang good for how the channel's been doing lately, it wasn't good enough to make the channel not do worse than it did the year prior. That big overall downward curve still stayed as a downward curve. Well, I am doing what I did originally. I've changed some things here and there, but overall, I'm still doing the same thing. Like, also get I get requests to maybe mix things up and stop doing the same thing all the time. So it's just I've slowly evolved things. I like to have a little bit of like an evolution over time. I like to see some kind of change so you can kind of recognize which era something is from. Yeah. Well, a good amount of that fault still falls on me because we all know you don't post videos. YouTube don't like that. And if I'm going to be a YouTuber, posting videos kind of comes with it. So if I'm not doing that, I got one guy to blame out of my one-man crew here. So it's like I can argue and complain about the algorithm all day, but at the end of it all, I am the one responsible for my own like channel. So is what I got to do. But I still thank you all for all of the support over the years. It's been extremely like life-changing. Is like a lot of people wouldn't bring out the life-changing thing when it's like, oh yeah, I got like about a less than 200K subs. I can pay my rent and I struggle with my car note right now. The economy's not doing the greatest. It's just, how it is. But yeah, life-changing. But no, honestly, yeah, because I love what I do, and that is worth more than like being one of the top 0.01% of content creators on the platform and getting millions of views and brand deals and this and that. The fact that I do something I love is the biggest thing, the most important one, and I have that. So I have all of you to thank for that. Hey, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Floor polish do I use? I use, I got a Swiffer mop. Press the little button, it spits on the floor, and then I rub it up. There we go. Creepy, I've seen him come back on Twitter lately. He's got some projects going on. So Yeah, he posts to his OnlyFans, and I think it's movie reviews, but I don't want to risk it. Not or like TV show retrospectives. I haven't gone to check though, so just be careful about that website. Let's see, what was? Can you review See No Evil 1 and 2 after you're done reviewing the fourth Hatchet movie? Well, that's something to work on. But yeah, there's another Friday the 13th this year, I think. And so that was the idea for the final Hatchet movie, Victor Crowley. That's Hatchet 4, except it's not called Hatchet 4. Does anyone else notice my glasses? I love these glasses. Charlie got me these glasses after my last glasses broke. And they're actually circles like I've wanted forever. And I can't stop talking about that. I ever since when I was in my 20s, early 20s, and it was like, hey, you're nearsighted. You should probably think about some glasses. And I got my first pair of glasses. I said, I want circles. And they were like, they don't have circles. And every time I go to a glasses store and I'm like, I want circles, they show me their arrangement of what they consider circles, and not a single one of them are circles. And it drove me nuts. So why don't you have circles? So Charlie got these online, which was kind of risky because like my last pair of glasses, they were good. I liked the rimless, but the nose bridge part was a little too narrow, and the lenses rested on my nose itself, which was less than comfortable. And all that, but I like the rimless, and we were able to find rimless circles, and it actually fits like perfectly. And so I see these glasses on me, and I'm like, oh, they look so good. Oh, they look so good. I love those glasses. Look at that handsome man in those circular glasses with no rims. Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand. Well, I mean, when I first, like 20 years ago, went to get my first pair of glasses, and they were like, well, we don't have circles, but these are very popular right now. And they ushered me over to the emo glasses section with the big, thick, square plastic rims. And I'm like, no! But yeah, I like the rimless because I feel like it opens up my face more. I still look like me. I had to get glasses recently. I was shocked that I had to take them off. I could function without them previously. There's a thing where if you don't wear glasses you need for a while, your eyesight will improve a little. So not enough to really be like, hey, I don't need glasses, but slightly better than than if you're used to glasses and then you take them off. And I was like, ah, crap. Oh. Matt Batten dropped $10. Love the channel. Enjoy your review. Been watching for a while now. Your videos always put a smile on my face. You're the best. You're a great person. Keep up the good work. And I love your videos too. Oh, that's heartwarming. That's heartwarming right there. Or heartwarming. Do I have parasites? No, that's love. That's love. Okay, good. But yeah, I do hope to get the review for Jurassic World Dominion out soon. How many pages is this? How many pages is this thing? It's showing 24 kilobytes size on disk. I usually count my scripts based on the kilobytes. If it's about 20 kilobytes, that's normal review size, about 23, 24 minutes. So anything above that starts getting a bit long, and this is still like I've still got over an hour of movie left to dig through and be like, and this is fucked up, and that's fucked up, and that's fucked up, and that guy is around even though they cloned these guys from the stuff they found in mosquitoes, and this thing went extinct before mosquitoes evolved. Shame. But I love that. I love that dinosaur, though it's not technically not a dinosaur. We'll let it all slide. Thank you. Crap. I'm blind. But yeah, my mother was considered blind without her glasses. But like me, she was nearsighted. So it's kind of funny. Like she's considered completely blind, but if she got a little fine print to read on something, you just be like, "Yeah, off, right, okay." Can't get it a right distance away to actually read tiny fine print with the glasses on, but get it right there, can read it just fine. All right. Mokiness dropped 5 pounds. Here's a tip to help with the heartwarming meds. Just to leave it warm and fuzzies. Thank you for all the work you do. It's much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. You see, the thing is, I love the Jurassic Park style, but I really enjoy the fluffy death chickens. And I feel like the thing with the original Jurassic Park that was that the creature design was the most scientifically accurate at the time. That was the big thing that it did, because even though science knew for a while the dinosaurs didn't drag their tails on the ground, well, dinosaurs always drag their tails on the ground in movies. So if a movie had dinosaurs in them, they'd be dragging their tails on the ground. And Jurassic Park bucked that trend, being like, "No, we're going to be scientifically accurate as possible here." And it was just majestic and beautiful and amazing, and they had fantastic effects, and it was glorious. And then in the sequels, when science improved in the paleontology, they were like, "Well, we already established they're like this, and the fans love this. So let's just say it's something to do with the weird cloning genetics, the mixed genome. Well, screw it. Yeah, leave them like this. Leave them like they were in the original design." And so I like the fluffy death chickens that come out in Jurassic World Dominion. I do like the design of. It's the plot that goes around them that I have a lot of questions about, and the convenience of a lot of things. Thought I'd send this to make up for videos I missed. Came back because I thought, who do I know to have an opinion on Terrifier 2, which I thought was a bizarre movie compared to the original. I feel like Terrifier 2 was a safer kind of sequel. I don't know. It went places, very strange places, but not in terms of horror, just in terms of general world building and storytelling. Like if you go back to All Hallows Eve, and like the original little short that had Art the Clown in is the first one in there. That's some freaky shit. Last time, thank you, dude. Made my night. I appreciate you. Aww. I'm getting so much love tonight, and I didn't even have a show prepared. I don't even have a Twitter poll, and I didn't have a Twitter poll last time. I don't even have my co-host. Oh yeah. Was it a heart attack or was it cancer? Or did someone else die of cancer? But yeah, the actress who played Tess in the Last of Us video game passed away. So yeah, those paleontologists would make up the damn minds. All this out of date info is frustrating. Yeah, it's the science is just changing and adapting, and you just I like when I was really young and had been introduced to dinosaurs, and it was like, what color were they? And the answer was, oh, we don't know. So take the box of crayons and go at it. Might be right. And as I've grown up, I realize that's pretty much how all of paleontology works all the time. I found a fingernail. Here's what I think grew it. But like the original design of the original scientific like setup of Iguanodon just being a gigantic iguana, it's absolutely nothing like what Iguanodon actually looked like. But you got to consider what they had to work with when they came up with that design and said, this is what Iguanodon looks like. One tooth. Oh. cooking or gym video. I could do Ring Fit Adventure. Charlie wants me to get back on Ring Fit Adventure. My Twitch dashboard is suggesting to me that I should stream Ring Fit Adventure if I want views. It's like, but I never made the Mexican pizza video. There's a lot of things I like cooking. I still want to make the smokies though. That's a specific little recipe I've put together, and I remember seeing effectively the same thing for sale at my local. Why do I want to say Starbucks? There's no local Starbucks. Subway, at my local Subway. I saw them selling these cookies, and I knew what they were because I saw something that was terribly wrong with them, but is the same thing that I already solved as a problem with my Smokies. That being that they had marshmallows on the cookies, and they were just melted completely and hardened into these black little things. And it was like, here's what you did wrong. You got to take those out of the oven, and before they cool, then you add the marshmallows. You don't bake them with the marshmallows on them. Don't you know how to make Smokies? Well, I think I know what I'm buying next. That reminds me, did anyone see that the day before gameplay trailer? I mean, the game looks terrible, but man, those yoga pants. Well, I guess there is that. There is always that. Oh, thank you. Hey, I'm glad to help it. That's the one thing, like with the depression and such. One of the thoughts I had like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, as I'm trying to find the energy to get everything back in order. Part of what helped was the fact that I was streaming like almost every day on Twitch. That was helping to get me back in a schedule of something. Then it was EDF, which that's where the world goes to absolute hell, and there's nothing you can do about it, and the world is doomed, but you keep fighting, and boom, you win. Sorry about that. But yeah, the game they removed from Steam. There's so many weird things going on with that one. Now, some people are saying like there's not going to be a game at all, but based on the fact that the company that's making The Day Before has made games, I'd say probably there will be a game, but the latest gameplay trailer is more akin to what it's looking to probably be. Empty, asset flip, not at all engaging. But it'll be that, but also conveniently enough, they had to delay it because they forgot to trademark The Day Before, and someone else trademarked The Day Before, and they had to delay it a year because of that, which is enough time to throw together a game. But whatever game they make, they won't have to call The Day Before. So if you have any issues with the fact that it doesn't look like The Day Before from before, well, they can just say that it's not. Convenient. Donating too much keeps them to afford your lunches. Everyone, the economy's bad right now. What are you doing? But what was I saying? I was saying something. Dang it! I lost my train of thought. Oh, right, depression. I had a couple of days ago. I had a thought with all the support and all the. I do get messages more frequently than I thought I ever would, of people who do also suffer from depression, and they say that the videos have helped them through some dark times, and that's a driving force when I was there, like, how am I going to get everything back in order? How am I going to get everything going? Everything's gone to hell. It's crumbling down. Susan Wachuskanasti hates me, and it was just absolutely... I should probably just learn how to pronounce her name rather than just guess every time. But... yeah, because if she hears this part in the stream, she's absolutely not going to. She's not going to be like, "Oh, this poor guy, I'll help him in the algorithm." No, after that little bit, hell no. Yeah, it's part of the thing, like, got a bit of a responsibility there. And it's, yeah, the show must go on. The show must, dang. Thank you, Jay Fernston. That does remind me, though. Is it just me, or is it cheaper now to get Domino's carryout than it is to buy a frozen pizza? Like, frozen pizzas have gone up to like $8, $9, $10. I can go down to Domino's and get a $8 pizza, like freshly cooked, large pizza, a large one topping pizza, $8. Carryout, boom. Yeah, it's just that I don't need to describe depression. If you got it, you know it, and if you don't got it, you'll really have no idea how blessed you are. Thank you, Matt. That's a lot of dinners, especially if I get a lot of ramen. Am I the only one who keeps a stack of ramen, like just in case, like just boom boom, in case I'm a little peckish today? Like, here's 25 cents worth of food to tide me over. It's one of those things about just people in general. Humans tend to empathize. We do naturally want to and feel an empathy for those around us, but as a bit of a just kind of catch-22, if you will, just a bit of irony in there, is people also have a very, very difficult time imagining things outside of their own wheelhouse, such as when you imagine, like, sight. A lot of people imagine it with a homunculus. You understand light's hitting your eye and going into your optic cortex and your visual cortex in your brain, and your brain's figuring out what everything looks like. But if you think of, it's hit my eye and my brain's figuring it out, the first thing most people will think of is a little guy sitting inside their head watching a projector screen that's fed from their eyes. Because it's more to the personal experience of what one can understand. Humans are really weird creatures. But yeah, we empathize, but we have a very hard time thinking outside of our own wheelhouse, which is a real bad thing when you got anxiety, because then you'll attribute to other people intense and like negative thoughts that they aren't having, and that's part of the problem. Oof. See, my favorite thing to make with ramen is 2 packs of ramen. Just put it there. I'm having a 50-cent lunch today. Living large. Well, that's fair. That's completely understandable. But spaghetti sauce on a pack of ramen, you don't even need water. See, that's the anxiety talking. That is absolutely the anxiety talking. And it can be difficult to recognize when it's your own brain messing with you and tell it, hey, me, shut up. But it helps to recognize that. I myself try and think through things logically. Like that's how it helps for me. Like, it was years ago, but just one instance that I remember is walking down the street, tripping over my own foot, and then across the street, I hear laughter at this one big thing set up. They were doing a pumpkin sale. It was around October, and then the pumpkin patch sale, everything going on there, and there were a lot of people milling about, and there was laughter that came that way. And the first thought in my brain is like, they're laughing at you. And then it's like, stop, step back, think about this. Most likely they didn't even notice you, and they're laughing about their own thing over there. Calm the fuck down. It ain't that serious. And if they are laughing at you, who cares? Screw them. Probably they're not. So you don't have to say screw them. So it's, yeah. Been through rough times, never give up. Your best, the best. Thank you. Been through rough times, never give up. You're the best guys. If everyone hates you, you're doing something right. So when they don't care that you should work, I don't know if everyone hates you. There's a possibility, like logically speaking. I mean, I know we're trying to be all positive and stuff, but I'm thinking like, man, if I've just been driving down the sidewalk, running down a bunch of old people outside of the elderly home, and everyone hates me for it, they probably got a good reason. Probably got a good reason. As I do suffer from depression, feeling like my efforts in life are a train wreck of childish delusions. The things that get me back to reality is a recognition that this doesn't match my life. Yeah. Ah. Yeah. If everyone hates you, they must be wrong. I know something about that. Thanks, dude. Hmm? Oh. Oh boy. But yeah, we're at the hour mark, which I don't know. I usually kept the Live and Wireds to about an hour. The last one I stretched to 90 minutes because I wanted to have more time at the end for this, just the general shooting the breeze that we've been doing for an hour. So I don't need that time at the end. I don't know. What does everyone think? Call it here, or you give the overtime for, I don't know. What are we going to talk about? Probably something about movies. What's going on with movies? Geez, I still haven't watched Megan. Crap. I did play the beginning of Dead Space on the Steam Deck on stream on Twitch, but I want to keep playing it in lo-fi, like lo-fi gaming. Set all the stuff to ultra, but resolution 640 by 480 at a 4:3 resolution, and locked 30 frames a second. Oh yeah, that's how I want to play Dead Space. That's where the real fear comes in. It's just a beautiful aesthetic. Beautiful, I say, beautiful. Well, I see Cocaine Bear. I do want to see Cocaine Bear. Okay, I think that settles it. We're going for another 30. There haven't been too many movies I've gotten hyped. My problem is I'm so caught up in trying to do my schedules and get my reviews ready that I don't pay attention to the new releases. So it's like something comes out and I'm like, crap. Except for, of course, Terrifier 2. I was all over that. And bad CGI sharks. I was all over that too. We had a talk on shitty horror films, technology evolution, and group therapy. One hell of a cocktail. Yeah, it was just another day on Live and Wired. Oh, The Legend of Vox Machina. I gotta play the new Evil Dead game. I gotta see the new Evil Dead movie. There's a lot of Evil Dead going on. There's a lot of Evil Dead. So much. There's a new Battle Royale mode coming to the Evil Dead game, where it's like, what was it, 40 Deadites going at it? Last one standing wins, which actually sounds like an interesting little twist on the whole Battle Royale thing. Haven't seen many movies, budget won't allow it. I like going to the theater just because, like, this is a small town and pretty much no one goes to the theater anyway. Even before the pandemic, no one was going. So it's just, we have theaters. I drive to them. I watch stuff. But I've had a lot of bad luck with the car lately. Going back to Terrifier 2, watching this movie cost me $1,000 because on the way back, someone chucked a jerry can in the road, which I slammed into at like 80 miles an hour, and it shattered my radiator, and I was way out of town because I had to go far to get to see Terrifier 2. So I had to pay hundreds of dollars to get it towed back home, and then so much more to replace the radiator, get that done. And then they charged $100 to change the frickin' coolant in there, and it's like, guys, I had coolant in the trunk. Like, and I already bought that coolant when I was just trying to fill the coolant because it said I was low on coolant, and I know that is like $5 worth of coolant. Was it $95 to do this? Really? But also, not too long ago, Lou here, this doggy she was feeling a little depressed. I recognize that when I'm doing all my work and I don't get to walk her too often, and the weather's been bad lately, so she hasn't been able to go outside as much as she'd like. So sometimes she gets a little sad sometimes, and I don't like that. So what I did was I was like, okay, we're gonna go to the McDonald's drive-thru, get you some nuggies. And she loves car rides. She went, we did that. It was great. I'm driving back home. Next thing I know, engine won't start. Push that thing into the parking lot, which I was very fortunately right next to. And I popped the hood, and the fuel injector fuse was blown, which fortunately I was able to figure out soon because that's one that blows on my car. So I pop it out, put in a new one since I had 5 spares, close it up, try to go, car won't start again. Open it back up, pull it out, it blew immediately. So take that out, put a new one in, close it up, start the car. And then I went out and I bought more fuses. So I've got like 8 spare fuses because every now and again my fuel injector just blows the fuse and my car dies. That's my life. So I'm kind of scared to go driving. And Lou, come on, really? You already did that last stream. Everyone knows you can do that. But she thirsty. Maybe going for some water. Maybe she just wants to sit on the couch. She likes that couch. She really does. Oh yeah, she can. That's why the paint is scratched up like that on the top because that's where her paw goes when she goes to open the door, and on the bottom because that's where she scratches when she just wants to make a noise to tell us to open the door for her. Oh. Who would I cast as Regina in a Dino Crisis movie, and would I watch it? That's a toughie because I always like being. I kind of like unknowns. Like if it's not someone who I'm just like. If there's no one who really screams they're born for this part, I don't really feel too much like, okay, you have to pick out a star. It's like, nah, if there's no star that's that perfect, just get an unknown and hope for the best. Oh, well, you see, there's want and there's capable of taking care of. And that second part is where I have problems because unfortunately it's like we got plenty of land, but the house Charlie and I live in is kind of small, and the house Charlie's mother lives in is really big, but she is allergic to dogs. And so, yeah, I love dogs. I've taken in a couple other puppies since Lou showed up, but we could not keep them because one Lou is enough. So we found homes for them, fortunately. You see, I know what's wrong with my car. The electrical in it, there is no housing for it. It's just like I wrapped it up in electrical tape as best I could because that's all I could do. The parts that I'm looking for is not available on carparts.com or anywhere I looked. It'd be several $100s anyway, but it's just the bushing around the electrical, just the big plastic tube that it's all supposed to go through. Yeah, I don't have any of that. I just got the wires, and it occasionally like rubs against the metal engine, shorts out, and blows the fuses. That's just kind of. You see, I already have one of those as well. No, that's not exactly right. I feel like she took me in. I'm more the stray. Come to think of it. Chevy Cobalt 2010 LT Coupe. As a Chevy, you know. So I'm just, I assume fix that problem. There's going to be something else that's just going to kill the engine as I'm driving, and I'm like, oh, Chevy. Yeah, foster puppies myself. I have two that's left better now, about 18 weeks old, and another three I'm fostering. They'll be 8 weeks old on Monday. Yeah. The one puppy that I took in, I found them a new home like 2 houses down, and they keep them as an outside dog. And I see them occasionally running around. I think they call them Beowulf, even though that is a girl. Like the puppy was a girl. But I'm pretty sure they named it Beowulf because I've heard them shouting Beowulf at it. So it's either like that's their name or I heard wrong. Not too hardcore. Like after I stopped having fun with the new ones, I just like okay, and I've got other movies I'd rather be watching. So that's kind of how it went. I don't feel like I'm not overly upset about the state of the Star Wars franchise. I mean, the old movies are still here. I can still watch them and enjoy them, and I don't feel enthused to go out and check out every new thing Star Wars. Now, if I'm a hardcore fan of anything, it's EDF. Yeah. What do you call a Chevy in a ditch? It's in its natural habitat. Oh yeah, Beowulf is an awesome name for a dog. If I were to name a dog, though, I'd probably call it Laser Wolf. Just named after the butcher in Fiddler on the Roof. Just because, like, that's got to be the most Chad name ever. Laser Wolf. Like, this man was like turn of the 19th century, kind of, or turn of the 20th century, like early 1900s. Early 1900s, Russia, like during a lot of like the end of Tsarist Russia and all that, and his name is Laser Wolf. What was it? Straight up Laser Wolf? I never checked like Fiddler on the Roof IMDb. What is? It's always sounded like Laser Wolf. Sounds Laser Wolf. That was. Let me present my screen. Okay, you see right here, Paul Mann played Laser Wolf. That's that. If I get another dog, they're gonna be their name. I just love that. Maybe I can name my own child that actually. Laser Wolf Shadow. There we go. That's gonna be the best dang name. Saw Fiddler on the Roof and Cabaret. I haven't never seen Cabaret. Fiddler was excellent, and Cabaret was dog shit. I might review Fiddler on the Roof. It's very much out of my wheelhouse, but I don't know. I still feel like, I think about the fact that my mother passed away here and there. It's a thing. It's a thing. And there are the movies that she introduced me to. I already reviewed Phantom of the Paradise long ago. Fortunately, while she was still alive. But Fiddler on the Roof, I never did because it's absolutely not horror, not science fiction, not action. Did body count does not rise. Like this. Well, I guess would you consider the part where the soldiers come in and smash up the Jewish village an action scene? But it's a musical. It's a musical based on a play that was a musical. It's based on a book as well, I think. No, I don't think the book was a musical. Laser Wolf sounds like an 80s TV show about a helicopter. Fan of the Opera. Which Fan of the Opera movie? There's been a lot of them. I had a dog that growled at me constantly, no matter what I did for it. And some friends of the family have two annoying dogs: one that whines constantly, the other that steals all the food. That's the whole gambit right there. See, Lou, she ain't nothing but a hound dog, crying all the time. I should. I don't know, just reviewing the soldiers smashing up the Jewish village as an action scene seems a bit like I'm going to get my entire channel deleted if I do that. Like, no one's going to accept it was just a joke for that shit. Like, come on, don't you got a sense of humor? Hello, Dirk Diggler. Got about 14 minutes, I'd say, left in the stream, so we're just kind of shooting a breeze, talking about Laser Wolves and reviewing musicals on this channel, or at least a musical. Well, then, if I would ever do Repo Man, it's not like Fiddler on the Roof would be the only musical. I could do Fiddler on the Roof and then later do Repo Man, being like, "Hey, I did Fiddler on the Roof." That has opened the door up for musicals, so now I can review Repo Man. Lon Chaney will always be king. No other version compare. I think that version was. I'm pretty sure it was public domain, but no matter what, it got hit with a claim on the channel back when I was doing for Patreon. Instead of doing the creepypasta readings, I did the riffs on public domain movies. What about Phantom of the Paradise? My mother, she didn't necessarily introduce me to that movie as much as, like, because my mother always watched that movie, I was introduced to that movie. She didn't sit me down like, "Come on, son, we're going to be watching some Phantom of the Paradise. You're what, 4? Yeah, you're old enough for this." It's just, she loved that movie and she would watch it. And so I watched it. Oh yeah, for Patreon, Subscribestar, and for YouTube channel members, there's a tier where I do creepypasta readings once a month. It's like $4 a month support. You get that tier, or how much is it on YouTube for a membership? $5. I think a YouTube membership also includes no ads on the videos. Though then again, YouTube Red by itself is no ads on any videos, and that's like what, 10? But yeah, I try and do like about 30 minutes or so, maybe a bit more. I've this month, last month's creepypasta readings, I did 2 very short creepypastas followed by a much longer Edgar Allan Poe story. I like reading Edgar Allan Poe, and Edgar Allan Poe strangely works as a creepypasta better than a lot of creepypastas you find. Like the amount of times Edgar Allan Poe is he sets the story up as a story being told from the first person, as this is a weird thing that really happened, and pauses mid-story to tell the reader, like, "And you ain't gonna believe this shit," and just it keeps going. And it's like, there's just that quality of Edgar Allan Poe, and I love the vocabulary at work, even if it's much larger than my own. Favorite Poe story? Oh. Dang it, what was it? There was one part in the one story that I really like, but I just can't say. Like, I feel like I think that this was a story that towards the end of it, it almost went like Stephen King style. Like, the story was going really well, and then it just went completely fucking bonkers. And absolute, like, it was not creepy or scary at all because it was just too ridiculous. But what was? Let me take a look. I could find like Edgar Allan Poe short stories. Let's see, stories by Edgar Allan Poe. Let's see. Let's be in the stories of the. That's in the. Was that it? No, I don't think that's it. Dang it, which was it? There was I had my old book. But there was one thing specific, one passage in one part. This doesn't have it, I don't think. Nah. Dang it. Oh well. How many puppies do I have? I just got the one dog. Just got the one dog here. What do you think of the idea of a remake of The Princess Bride, but with Muppets? With Muppets? Okay. I'll watch that. Just a straight up remake of The Princess Bride, don't you fucking dare. Hello, Sourcephius. If I were a Marine in Aliens, what would I do to live? There ain't many options. Technically speaking, every single Marine in Aliens died. Even the one that survived, because in Alien 3 they established he died. Unless we want to say that Aliens Colonial Marines is canon, which we don't. There is a shortage of perfect movies in this world. It would be a pity to damage that one. Beautiful. I have not seen. I've seen everyone posting clips of the dance, but that's about it. I feel like it grew on me over time. Like, I used to like Alien Resurrection more than Alien 3, but I feel like that's just because Alien Resurrection was so far gone that it was a lot easier for me to accept it for what it was and not what I wanted it to be, versus Alien 3, which comes very close to what I want it to be, but it ain't. It's just like, it does enough things that I don't like that I'm like, "Grr." But after enough time, I'm like, actually, Alien 3 as it is a decent flick. Well, the prequels have the whole thing of just, oh my god. We gotta give it to Ridley. He's an artist, but he got to step back from the whole look how much of an artist I am sometimes. The Alien prequels were not really the place to do it. He can direct a great scene, but that story and just those plot points really just did not make sense. And it's like, and yeah, there's that whole aspect. But Alien Isolation did a really good job with having it so one single alien is a major threat. And then, like later on, when you're facing multiple aliens, that also is like, holy crap, that makes it feel that much more like it, instead of it being like in Aliens, where you see a bunch of aliens and it's like, oh, this is going to be slightly inconvenient. We'll take a few seconds to shoot all of them. It was like you're coming through as Amanda Ripley, and you've been facing one alien all this time, and you get through the one part and you see the one alien come down, and then you see another and another, and then it's like, I'm dead. I am totally screwed. Well, I have not yet seen Victor Crowley. I've heard bad things about it, but I will hold off until I watch it. I will be watching it. And I can't remember what the bad things I heard were, so I can't really elaborate on it. Uh, I, it's just, it's the prequels, just the way it was. I said in my Prometheus review that I really didn't like how they were asking all the big questions because it really did not feel like that they were trying to actually explore any of the questions. They were just asking them for the sake of asking them. And I feel like I was vindicated in Alien Covenant, considering they didn't answer any of those questions. They just asked them again. And it's just like, you bastards, I knew it. It turned Space Nightmare into shooting ducks. Hell, Ripley single-handedly beat her up in the final boss in less than 20 seconds. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the designs in Aliens, but yeah, that's but yeah, Covenant made Elizabeth Shaw very pointless in Prometheus. Yeah, and it's like Elizabeth Shaw was pretty obviously the not Ripley, but then Covenant is like, oh, where is she? And it's like, oh, here she is. She's dead. She's been dead for a while. Because artistically, this means this is related to that and that and that. So don't you care about how this family tree works? It's like, not really. Not really, no. I personally would prefer if these things just kind of tongue mouth people's brains out. Uh, what is your horror movie ever? My horror movie ever. Best or worst? Let's think about both. Think about both. When it comes to best horror, the thing I like most is Dread. And I feel like the creativity and just the way it just absolutely just crushed my expectations and went way crazy in a lot of ways. Terrifier 1. Terrifier 2 I love. It's a great movie, but in its overall horror aspects, I feel like it's inferior to Terrifier 1. It's a more it's structured more like a horror movie, whereas Terrifier 1, maybe it wasn't playing by the rules quite right, but that's one of the things that made it really interesting and honestly scary to me. Favorite horror movie ever? Oh, yeah. So yeah, I think Terrifier 1 really is the one that comes off the top of my head. I really like horror that just builds dread, and that does a very good job of it. But now let me think of worst. Well, worst is also tough because there are so many bad ones. There are so many horror films that just don't do horror at all. A lot of horror out there isn't horror at all. It's action with gore. And that's the thing that I feel like Hatchet 3 kind of failed in the horror department. On a second viewing, I realized it did try. Like that's one reason why I watch movies multiple times is how I feel initially, and then there's how I feel after multiple viewings and testing my own little hypothesis of what was this doing here or there. Because on first viewing, I really felt like Hatchet 3 didn't even really have horror aspects to it. So looking for that specifically on the second viewing, I'm like, oh no, it's doing this, it's doing this, it's doing this, it's following the playbook. But because it was just so over the top with like Victor Crowley coming out and smacking the crap out of all these guys firing assault rifles at him, and just rip a guy in half and stomp a guy's brains out, rip his arms and legs off, and rocket launches, and it's just absolutely campy as hell action that just drained all of the horror out of it. So it's like, fun movie, enjoyable, but really not horror. Also, absolutely wasted Mary Beth, and the whole B story is really actors who were good at what they did, and interesting characters who were absolutely underutilized the entire time. Oh yeah, no worries, Monroe. We're coming up on the end. We've just passed the 90-minute mark, so it's about time. It's about time I call this. Oh yeah, that interestingly enough is one of the things that I did not like in Terrifier 2 is like there is specifically one scene where it's building tension and it interrupts that for a jump scare before then trying to continue with the original tension, and it's like you don't need the mandated jump scare time to remind people it's a horror movie when you're in the middle of doing horror. Why did you do that? Like, that's just a couple instances here and there in Terrifier 2 like that annoy me. But mostly I love Terrifier 2, though. There's a hell of a lot I like about this movie. Just, there's a couple spots here and there that I'm like, yeah. I might have been a little harsh with the 4 out of 5, but I don't know. I'll tell you, give it another viewing, give it another couple of viewings, and see what I think then. Thank you as well, Matt. And yeah, this is about all the time. Weren't desensitized. Well, there's more to horror than blood. Unless it's the original Halloween, in which case, if there isn't enough blood, I don't like it. Anyway, I should be calling it. But yeah, this has been a nice little chill stream. Talked a nice amount about a little bit of everything. So thank you all for joining. I have been Decker Shadow. I'm still working on the Jurassic World Dominion review. I want to get that out sooner rather than later. Got a lot of the script done, but I admit there's a lot to go. But if I get my schedule back in order, that really shouldn't be a problem. Under the Veil has been moderating for us today. She is still working on a little bit. Very dark story, very true story. When I talk about fun horror, it feels kind of disrespectful to speak of the specifics of that, but she'll have that video going there. And remember, there's just a beauty of the aesthetic of 480p 30 frames a second. I don't care what anyone says. It's there.